The first step to healing, and really the most important aspect of healing on a spiritual journey, is repentance. And I don't mean this in a strictly religious sense. What I mean by repentance is an accountability, a responsibility to be taken, and a plan of action to flee from that which is something that you know is not good for you, or someone that you know is not good for you. Today, I want to talk about New Age spirituality and how it coincides with repentance. And I really want to talk about twin flames specifically. Now, some of you may not even know what twin flames are. Some of you may have never heard of this before, and this is now the first time you're hearing this. Other people may be very upset with what I have to say in this video regarding twin flames and divine counterparts and the like. Twin flames is a New Age spiritual idea in which your soul is basically parted and is in another person. And so this coincides with the Greek myth of Zeus splitting humans in half, because humans in Greek mythology actually originally had two arms and two legs, and they were androgynous. They were male and female. And the myth actually turns out to be where the humans became so strong, but they were too prideful. And so Zeus had to split them up. And so their damnation, like humans were cursed really in this myth, to search for their other half for the rest of eternity. Now, in Dante's Inferno, the real meaning of hell is getting what you thought you wanted on earth for eternity. That's hell from Dante's Inferno perspective. And with twin flames, the idea is that, there's this recognition of the soul in one other person. And oftentimes, doing research on twin flames for years now for myself, since I would say 2019 actually, there are more often females that are awake to the connection than men, and oftentimes they scare the men away in wanting to reveal these things. And there's 7 or 8 stages of a twin flame in the course of this New Age idea. Step 1 is yearning for the one. 2 is glimpsing the one. 3 is falling in love. 4 is the fairy tale relationship. 5 is outer turmoil and inner purging. 6 is the runner and chaser. 7 is the surrender and dissolution. And then 8 is oneness. So there's like different levels of these stages according to this New Age idea. Now, I do want to have also different parts of the idea of romanticism to look on. So for example, the Troubadours, who were in the medieval times a group of men primarily that had a great respect for amour and love, and it was the idea of that you would see the lover's eyes as a divine visitation itself. And this divine visitation was actually a higher spiritual attainment or a higher spiritual channel than marriage. And so the Troubadours believed And these were like very classy men from the looks of it, and from all my research that I've done. Like, these were very sophisticated men. They would actually sing to their women, right? And I talk about this in another video, Marriage and Greek Myths, a long time ago. This was a few months actually, but I go into more detail there. But for the sake of trying to draw where this New Age idea came from, I want to build up these other roots and to really look at the roots of our society in general and where we came from to get to this point. So the Troubadours actually celebrated the agony of love. They actually celebrated the sickness of love, because the person that delivered the blow was the only one that could actually heal the wound. And even if there were little to no possibilities or chances to be with the woman, or reasons to be with the woman, like if it was just a lost cause, they would still sing to them as they saw it as the most endearing thing a man could do for a woman was to sing. So then, as you really go on in studying the Troubadours, there's a kind of willingness to accept the pain of that which comes from the hell of your love. So, I think what this twin flame really is, and keep in mind, in the Bible, there's nowhere that talks about soulmates. There's nowhere that talks about soulmates. Now, in some of my research on twin flames, there were actually parts where they claimed that twin flames made up of 144,000 people in the world. And so there were always going to be that same number, no matter what. And so twin flames would either have to die or grow apart and be completely individualized, even though they're the same soul, other places, in order for new twin flames to emerge into the world. So I used to believe in this, to be quite honest. I was lost. In 2019, when I was really looking for this stuff, I was lost. And I had these feelings about this person who I now understand was a narcissist. And what I really think the twin flame idea phenomenon is a delusional fairy tale, literally a fairy tale, because it talks about the fairy tale relationship, like literally a fairy tale relationship with, like, living in a delusion and living in an illusion. And I'm completely aware that there are people in this world that truly believe that they have found the other half of their soul. And yet, when I look at these people, they're very pale. They're often very, like, they are spiritual, don't get me wrong, but it's not, like, there's something off about the energy itself, right? And how do I explain that in more, like, logical detail? It's that the behaviors of these people are that of worshipers of idols, and the behaviors of these people are that of worshipers of demonic energies. They talk about love a lot on this twin flame journey stuff, and I get it. I understand it, but twin flames are not, there's not a point in which I found solace in this mindset. It was a hope for a romance of idealism for me. And these people that do believe that they found their other twin soul or their other twin flame, they are absolutely, you know, they're free to do what they want, in my view. But to go around talking about this as the one, like, there's a one for you. It is completely and utterly false. It is just not biologically sound. It is not scientifically sound. And make no mistake that there have been studies where, and I mean, if you just look in nature too, this happens, but like lions, for example, there can be a new male that comes in to the tribe or to the pride and kills the main alpha male, kills the cubs that are of that male that were once the dominant male's kids. And then the lioness of that pride will go into heat and then mate with the new alpha. Humans are the same way. Humans are the exact same way. Women, there's this thing called hypergamy, which I'm not sure if people know about this. But hypergamy is a primarily female phenomenon in which women, as a part of their natural response to looking for a mate, they naturally want to, quote unquote, get the best possible version of a man for them. And so, for example, in ancient times when women were, or when a tribe was like pillaged, for example, and the men were killed, and then they had to develop women had to develop the biological and intuitive qualities to start mating with these new males and really kind of just forget about their husbands or their men at the time, and they move on. And that was a survival mechanism, and because the ones that didn't do that were killed or cut off, so women weren't able to pass down those genes and weren't able to procreate. So natural selection kicks in and is like, okay, well, this is going to be the way for, as women, that we're going to have to search for this man. And the thing is that in my experience, women will always, like, sometimes, you know how they like monkey branch? Like, women talk about men cheating or something like that a lot, and they do, don't get me wrong, like there's bad apples out there. But in my experience, I've seen women monkey branch from man to man in the same day, claim that they like this guy over here, and then, oh, Mr. Alpha comes along, and suddenly that guy is just gone out of the picture. Because women live in the present moment very much. I would say more so than men, but I don't mean, well, how do I say it? They don't live in the present moment very much. It's more of like they live for the moment of emotional stimulus more so than men. And sometimes when there's a man that provokes a certain kind of emotional reaction in a woman, there's this, whoa, like there's just like need to be with this man. And other times with men, the natural proclivity for men to take is to have as many unlimited or as many women as possible without commitment. That is the natural way for man, because the best way to carry on offspring was for him to conquer land, procreate, move on to the next, and being able to spread his seed of strength across multiple nations. I mean, even in the Bible, King Solomon has multiple wives. And granted, he was a king, and granted, he had a lot of wealth and a lot of power and influence. And that was that. But I want to go back to something that I mentioned about the twin flames, that they said that there's only 144,000 people that are twin flames in the world. Well, in the book of Revelations, it talks about the 144,000 tribes of Israel that are only going to get into the kingdom of heaven. Now, this was a year and a half, 2 years ago when I really started to figure this out. And I was like, something's not adding up. Why would these numbers be so similar? And each one is trying to get at getting into the kingdom of heaven or finding a relationship with God, right? And that is what the twin flame people, I guess you could say, the people that advocate for this kind of thing are all about. They claim that it's growing closer to God or growing closer to yourself. But the problem is that most of them worship the creation, but not the creator. And they're telling you that you are creating with the creation, with the universe, right? It's not giving due credit to the Most High. And that is where I started to not understand. Like, let's say you take Leonardo da Vinci's painting of the Mona Lisa. Which do you praise more? Do you praise the art itself, or do you praise the creator of the art? Now, I'm not saying that Leonardo da Vinci's God, but I'm just giving an example of the situation. Now, with that being said, I would also suggest that these stages of twin flame are in fact very toxic. The reason I believe this to be so is because I lived the toxicity. In fact, I think this is an exact way of trying to change. This is like the game. What you can think about it as this. This is like spiritual crack. That's what this is. It's like spiritual drugs for your mind. And same thing goes with like crystals and all that kind of stuff. That is just spiritual crack. It's not true spirituality. And I know I'm probably going to get some feedback on that, but what do you do? The point is that I have not met someone that claims to be a twin flame that is legitimately not insane, or that is capable of logic, and that is capable of understanding the difference between mythology and reality. What I believe and it's not really what I believe, it's what I've been revealed to by God. And I know that's quite a thing to say, but I don't know how else to say it. It's that you yourself are the eternal lover that you're looking for. And you think that this person outside of you is going to complete you, but it's not. And yes, the twin flame in like the runner and chaser, surrender, dissolution stage, they talk about how you need to let go of the external in order to receive. And they talk a lot about surrender, and it's like, surrendering to what exactly? Because when you surrender to the universe, who are you really surrendering to? You're surrendering to the painting. You're surrendering not to the creator. You're surrendering to the painting. And make no mistake, time will get you for it. I believe it was Socrates that said that time is a moving image. I think that's true. But it's also true that the mind replays what the heart hasn't healed. And so when I first started to get these stages of twin flame, I thought I was a twin flame or whatnot. When I was delusional and completely out of my mind, because I was just so unloved my whole life. And I'm not trying to like have a sob story here. I'm just like explaining the situation, because I'm very happy about where I'm at right now. I'm very pleased. I'm very content. I'm living on my own very, very well. I am very pleased with where I'm at. I'm growing closer to God each day, and I could not be more grateful. With that being said, let me outline more of the situation. And so the situation was that there was this girl that was a narcissist, but I didn't know it at the time. And I just had these overwhelming feelings of now what I know are lust, but it was a lust that I couldn't control and I couldn't handle. And I had taken a fairly big hit in life at this point. There was just a lot going on, and I'm not making excuses, but it was just a very rough patch for me at this time, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And really what I was doing was projecting my anima onto this woman. And for those of you that are not aware, projecting your anima or animus onto somebody is not very healthy. And remember, the anima and the animus is a psychological term coined by Carl Jung, where the anima is a female, like the female totality and the feminine experience within a man's psyche, and then the animus is the masculine totality and the masculine experience within the woman's psyche. So that's what I mean to say when I say that you are your own lover. It's that when you are completely capable of being by yourself and balancing your own inner masculine and feminine energies without crystals and tarot cards and other weird like sage and all that fun stuff that like, I'm not saying that it's not beneficial to use incense or sage. However, I'm saying that the way that you use it is most important. And crystals too. Like, there's nothing wrong with having crystals. There's nothing wrong with like liking rocks. There's nothing wrong with that. What happens though is that and angel numbers too, like there's nothing wrong with like liking numbers or whatever, or thinking there's something interesting about just the patterns of life. It's when you put like excessive meaning behind these objectively how would you say it? Not imperial objects. What is the word I'm thinking of? Inanimate objects. That's the word I'm thinking of. It's when you put excessive meaning behind these inanimate objects that it becomes a potential problem, because sometimes a pen is just a pen, but sometimes a pen is a very useful device to create something. But that's the point, is to create something. And it's like being the creator with the painting. Are you going to worship the painting more? Or are you going to worship the time, effort, care, attention to detail that the creator put into the painting, and just admiring the beauty for what it is? Because beauty is not forever. But anyway, so I was at a really tough time, and I started doing research on like what was making me feel like I was going insane. And I don't even remember exactly how I stumbled upon the twin flame phenomenon, but I started doing research on it and I was like, what the heck? Like, there is something to this, though. Like, there is something here. Like, what exactly is it? It's like, oh, well, now that I'm far more emotionally mature, it is the exact situation of like narcissism. And it is the reflection of a narcissistic relationship disguised as something spiritual, but it's completely not. And there were times when I would start to like have these moments where I would start to feel like I was in the runner or chaser stage with this girl, and I had felt like I was the chaser in the relationship, and I was like chasing this girl, which as a man you should never do anyway. I learned that the hard way. And I'm so glad I'm not that person anymore, but the runner though was the one that was scared of the relationship, quote unquote. What I think this is that it's neglect. And a lot of the people online have been waiting years and years and years for their runners. Whoops. Their runners to come back. Years and years and years. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, they've stopped their entire life for decades to wait on this person that they have no clue where they're at. You've stalled yourself. That's it. And there's no, like, they just and a lot of these people come from very, very broken homes and broken places in life, which I completely understand and have empathy for. However, that does not mean that you get to put yourself into these addictive mindsets, because people can be addictive if you let yourself. And I think a lot of the times the idea of having a community is what brings you, or a relationship is what hinders your success on the spiritual path. So there were synchronicities that I had with this girl where I would just say, all right, fuck it. I'm done. I am decided. I remember there was one time very specifically when I was in the shower and I was just so angry at myself because I was like, why do I care so much about someone that is just running away? She doesn't care. Like, who, all right, I'm done. I'm done. And so in the shower, I felt good. I was like, yeah, I'm done. And then the weirdest fucking thing happened. I get texts of her wanting to hang out. And I was like, what the And at the time, I was like, okay, this is the runner and chaser stage. Okay. No. No. See, what I found is that narcissists and the universe itself and just reality has a weird way of working. And sometimes demonic forces want to keep you locked away. What I realized was that she was a spawn of Satan, and she was someone that was trying to keep me in the matrix. And she was someone that was trying to keep me from going on my path. And she was there basically to put me in a place where and again, this the devil's doing. I'm not blaming her. This was it. This was her just being what she was. She was, I mean, commanded by the devil. That's the best way to put it in my perspective. And trying to deceive me. And so I actually ended up accepting, like a dumb bitch that I was. Golly. You know, sometimes the world hits you in the nuts pretty hard. And you learn never to do certain things ever again. So anyway, I going out and I realize that this is still going nowhere. Like, she just wants attention from me. And so I just ended up completely just saying, like, look, I don't think this is working out, whatever. And she ends up texting me multiple times now. This is the love bombing tactic. This is not the runner and chaser stage. This is love bombing and narcissism. And so keeps love bombing, and I just block her. And I still have not seen her since. And I'm doing a hell of a lot better without that kind of person in my life. And I was not always this guy. I was not always this person that you see making these videos. I was a very sinful person, a very lustful person, and a very weak person that didn't want to take responsibility for feelings or have self-respect. Because I wasn't taught how to do that. I had to learn it. And when the world hit me in my cojones, it was a wake-up call for sure. And I know, and I was already like on the spiritual path at this point. Like, I was already awake. But that's the thing. A lot of these people that think that they're awake are just getting started. Like, they're just getting started. Man, I'm having a lot of problems with these microphones today. It's just getting started on these paths. And that's many people in the world right now that are on the spiritual path. Is like, some of these footsteps are just made for you, man. Or woman, whatever you want to be. No, not whatever you want to be. You're a man or a woman. And you are that person that you're looking for. And when you can sit in a room for hours at a time in complete stillness and silence and be at peace with yourself, that's when you know you've made it. Because you just are at that point. So, I hope this message was informative and useful. This was a bit longer than I usually do, and I understand because I want to completely dissolve this illusion. I think it's very damaging to many people to have this kind of ideology being propagated in society about twin flames. I think it's going to hurt people way more than it's going to help people. And that's the reason why I decided to talk about it for so long, and to talk about it so much, and to bring in all of these different aspects of society and where we've come from to where we are now. So, peace be with you. Till next time.